But, and with that, I present to you guys in the bottom right corner of the map, the blue Terran player. This is Kelazhur. Representing Team Liquid, of course. Tough match as he takes on in the top left Reynor, one of the best out there. Hasn't been perfect lately though, been playing a little bit crazier, some weirder strats. See what he brings today as he decided to sign up for the Open Cup tonight. Get this one going. Potentially called Tim as well. Thank you for the 8-month resub. Welcome back as well. Really appreciate it. As we'll see what this ZVT brings us, my friends. Best of 3, of course, still in the round of 8. But the winner of this is into the semi-finals. And semi-finals do become best of 5s. So we are potentially in for some good fun in the near future. Goblin took a map of Beyond. Yeah. Not too crazy. I mean, again, it's a European server. Not to downplay the, success from Goblin, but it's just worth noting, right? I'm never really surprised as much when people drop a map here, or there's a bit of an upset when it is like, as heavily cross-server as this. If it's NA server, when pings are equal-ish, slight advantage here, slight advantage there, then, yeah, sure. Like, then it's like, that's cool. But it's like, onto Europe, I'm like, God, that's actually, like, anything can almost happen when you play, like, Korea over to Europe. Pretty much anything can happen. As we got ourselves a barracks building up from Kelazhur, this Overlord of Reynor is making its way just down to the bottom side. Obviously, we'll see what kind of Kelazhur comes out with. Sometimes Kelazhur has some pretty cool builds in this matchup. Is not afraid to sometimes even open with like multiple Rax Reapers and stuff. He is very good at Reaper control. When I was talking to Lambo, he was talking about how Kelazhur's Reaper is kind of considered to be the same as Clem's Reaper. He's really good with this Reaper control, even just the first one. This, by the way, just straight up command center first into a Rax. So a little bit different in general from Kelazhur, but it's greedy he's going to get away with. There's nothing to really punish this on the way from Reynor. As this Reaper pops out, a reactor will follow it up when we start to head across the map. Side Reaper is just patrolling slightly as our Zergling speed is coming through. Oh wow, second factory from Kelazhur. Well, that's definitely one way to spice it up right from the get-go, right? That's absolutely one way to make this very interesting very quickly. As you just drop down the second factory, and yeah, CC first in a double factory setup. I assume we're going to go Tech Lab on that and play some Blue Flame Hellion opening. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's the kind of thing which I wouldn't be expecting as much as Reynor. If I'm Reynor right now, I want to be greedy. I want to take advantage of his slight greed of the CC first. And you can see Reynor's not getting the gas count up to build Overlord speed, so scouting is not exactly going to be a major part of this game for Reynor either. The only scout is this Overlord, which, to be fair, is rallied in pretty much the perfect direction. Cuts into the main. Well, the Marine here to stop it going deeper. He's going to let the Overlord come closer. Then he's going to come forward to put some damage on it and to scare Reynor away. Reynor's just going to come through. I mean, he sees a second Marine build. I mean, it's kind of weird as well, because it's like, what do you want to really show here? No add-on on that barracks and no starport's a little bit funky. Maybe there's a third CC, like, right over here or something as well, though. I feel like this is actually pretty well hidden. Reynor seems to think it's maybe a Hellbat attack, so starts up a Baneling nest. It's probably not a bad call. Like, that was the one thing I was thinking of when I saw the, Marine still building, no tech lab on this barracks or anything. I kind of thought, oh, that looks a little bit like Hellbats or so. Obviously, it will be Hellbats just a bit further down the line. Or will it? You don't actually have to go with the armory here. You can just play a lot of Blue Flame Hellions. That works as well. So you've got a couple of different options, basically. Grenade goes down. The Queens get blasted back. And we do have the Hellions able to put some good damage out there. So already dealing some hurt out. Putting out some pain. I'm just going to see those Hellions jumping on top of this set of rocks. So Rock's taking some damage. Hellions coming through. We are going to have a mule on the way down as well. That just drops into the natural. So gets that started up as all of our Hellions just getting ready to make some plays. Now, a few Banelings coming through. Banes don't matter as much if this turns out to be just, you know, Hellions. Hellions can run away from Banes a little bit as well. Blue Flame's not ready yet, so here come the extra Hellions now. Reynor sees it a little bit ahead of time still, though, so he does have a bit more preparation time now to try and defend against the Blue Flame. Here we go. All of our Hellions are going to start making their way forward. So they come out to the left-hand side to begin with here, going to make their way up. Runs into the mineral line. A few Banes start to make themselves known. He's going to slip away from these Queens and go to the third base where an Evo Chamber goes down. We'll have to cancel this to let the drones out the other side. 12 workers killed. We're going to get quite a few Lings as well. It's a successful opening so far from Kelazhur. Obviously, it is very heavily committed to Hellions. He's going to go bio behind this. 1-1 and Stim starting. He'll still have a bio upgrade lead despite this, which is actually impressive. Yeah, this is nice. 13 drones. A lot of the creep spread being cleaned out now as well. These few Banelings actually wasn't even so bad for Killers. I feel like trading out Banes for just a couple Hellions. They were kind of low HP ones anyway. I honestly don't even hate it, so it's honestly kind of okay. Hellions going to just put some damage onto Queens and a little grenade to try and pop some Queens out of position. Roach Roar now on the way up. So it's funny because now you're building a Roach Roar in case this is a mech follow-up, but in fact it's not a mech follow-up, it's a bio follow-up. So Roaches are not then going to be the best thing you can possibly have. The third base is going to be the weak point here again. We get two drones trying to line up some structures there. Ling's over here in some trouble, and Kelazhur will continue around this right-hand side. Gets the Baneling. Going to get a lot of these drones, 4 workers. I mean, up to 7 again. These drones are stacking. 13 more. 17 more. The damage is real. 19 more workers going down. This is where I love the fact that he's actually going for the bio follow-up, because with this amount of damage, following up with bio is very likely, very, very likely to net you a big old W here, I would say. Because it's just the follow-up's just going to hit so much faster than if you were actually playing mech. So yeah, I really love where Kelazhur is about to end up a few minutes down the line from this. Really feels like this has been a brilliant setup for him. And he should be pretty freaking happy about it. Hellions coming through with the Reaper, just going to be getting rid of some additional creep tumors. The last few Hellions of the game now is where are we at in terms of the Bioforce actually becoming accessible to kind of come through and fight. Combat shields on the way, medevacs are popping out. So it's the first medevac showing up soon with a 1-1 upgrade lead as well. And man, 2-2 already starting as well. Kelazhur is not skipping a beat so far. Reynor has some, well, damage control to get underway here. He needs to start finding some good trades, maybe some counterattacks. Right now, Kelazhur really is set up in a pretty nice spot. Gets a creep tumor, but loses a Hellion. Is going to be seeing the first medevacs loading up. Now, a little bit of Hellion support here as well. Still is obviously needed as we get active creep tumors. It's a hell of a lot of Queens, mind you. Those Queens do need support, and there is a bit of Lingbane behind it. There's a lot more Marines where these first 16 came from, though. I actually love what we're doing. The initial goal is just to stim into this mineral line. Yeah, I love that a lot, because the units just weren't around here. Just going to get in. Obviously not too much done. Now going to lift and go to the main base. Mutas are on the way out, so dropping around like this isn't going to be super viable for a long time. But for the moment, I don't hate it. We'll see if these units end up going down, or if it's going to be possible to continue through okay as a couple of drones go down. Now here come the mutas. We're going to lift up, we're going to boost to try and get elsewhere, and now you're just going to have to try and drop and hope these Queens will begin to intercept. He only unloads the Marines from the hurt medevac. Here comes the reinforcements, so he actually gets to join up with the main army. Widowmine shot is good on the Lings to begin with. Really good initial Widowmine shot as Banelings are here. A few Hellions morphed into Hellbats. They will tank a little bit as well. If they can just take a Baneling or two off the board, it's going to help massively as these Marines, yeah, just going to sit here and fight. Although no medevacs healing them up right now, which is maybe some wasted potential. Kills some of the Banes that run forward. And these medevacs maybe could have just been a bit further along, as we do see the reinforcements showing up from Kelazhur again. So he'll reinforce as Reynor starts to make this fight happen. He kills a lot of Widowmines with these Banelings. Kelazhur kind of just waddled those Widowmines straight into this and didn't really respect that the army was starting to move down to the south part to meet the reinforcements. So that was a little bit costly as the mutas come through. and they will clean up a lot of the rest of these medevacs as they will continue to pull back. The Bioforce continue to come on in, and these Zerglings are still being picked away at, still being chased away. That was a good hold from Reynor. It was kind of exactly what Reynor needed as well. And just felt like he had some good parts of that fight, but just a few too ready Widow Mines didn't even get the chance to start burrowing, and little things like that need to be just a little bit cleaner if you want to have a good time here. That unfortunately was not quite it, as Lingbane Queen coming through. We have got a group of Mutalisks on this bottom side. Reynor going to bring them down, and well, we'll start by picking away at a couple of these SCVs, so a couple of workers already down. Nice Widow Mine shot straight in on those Mutalisks. This is where the Mutas get very annoying. They get to counterattack, and this is where you've got to send units back to deal with them. As the Terran, the best defense oftentimes against Mutas is the offense. Force those Mutas to stay at home. And Kelazhur will be pushing up to the top here. He is 2-2 against 1-1, remember, and if you can get some good Widow Mine shots to lead into a battle, it is still very possible you can take a very good fight. As Queen's currently going down, there's not a ton of Banelings right now, I have to say, right? Like, it feels like there wasn't like a crazy number. Somewhat a manageable amount, dare I say it. I like how Kelazhur controls this fight, not diving too far in, not getting too involved when he doesn't need to be. He's got units on the bottom side still looking to chase those Mutas away. The only issue for Kelazhur is that army has not been reinforced for a while. It's now a little bit painful for your reinforcements just to kind of run out into all of the Mutas. We kill off one as the Overseer gets away to the other side. There's a handful of Marines down here as well. They're going to maybe try and get this bottom left base. That'd be nice. Right over here, and Widow Mines apparently got a lot of the work done. Getting some decent connections. We do stim in, so again, looking to deny the bottom left. Trying to bring these Banelings into this Widow Mine! Oh my god! It was beautifully target fired into the center. Reynor just didn't see it, and they got so many Banelings. We're stimming through the bottom side. We're looking for a couple Queens, maybe some drones over here after that Baneling hit from the Widow Mine. Wow, wow, wow. That is some crazy stuff. As Muta's going to come around the left-hand side, we've got a little bit of Bioforce repositioning around the bottom side as well, figuring out where it wants to go. More units from Kelazhur out over to the right. And still just Bio units stimming in at the moment. As Lings, Mutas, Banelings, all of this setting up. Bio Army sits back, defends a little bit. Just going to be seeing the Overseer again pushed away again. Another Widow Mine taking a couple of shots. Again, Widow Mine's continuing through too. +1 vehicle plating on the way right now. Oh, that's cute. A little burrowed Baneling setup is going to find a group of Marines trying to move up the right-hand side. We've got Mutas on the bottom side, which are able to come through as well. They're actually going to do extremely well. As the Marines chase them away, the Mutas have just been constantly on the offense for so long at this stage. As Lingbane makes its way around this right-hand side, there is a Widow Mine or two maybe able to go off here. Well dealt with by Reynor. Got a couple of Banelings the first one, but the second one was seen as Mutas are just AFK in some Widow Mines, and that's a couple of Muta kills. And some splash, which maybe dissuades them from doing something or any further attacks for just a little while. We're maxed out here on either side. And Kelazhur is putting up a hell of a fight right now in this game number 1 on Lightshade. 14 minutes deep. They're both maxed out. Kelazhur has the bigger bank at the moment. The Mutas are still trying to cause a bit of misery for Kelazhur, running around all over the place, and again, Reynor's probably going to escape through the main base here. There is a Thor in the main base, mind you. I don't think this Thor's going to have a good time, actually. It's going to die to the Mutas. I mean, kind of cool, but also kind of doesn't really work how you want it to. A lot of SCVs going down as this Plandry gets busted as well. I mean, worker count is dropping all over the place. SCVs are now going to fly in over here, or moving over here where the Mutas are flying overhead. The Mutas are still taking quite a lot of damage. 27 workers killed in recent times. I was just going to get this command center setting up on the 4th base. Is that going to be able to retreat from up here? Looks like it will kind of get there. Widow Mines are seen. Good micro is there. He's going to try and I think he wanted to bait these Marines over a burrowed Baneling bomb, but I don't think Kelazhur was going to fall for it. He knows it's like, why are you trying to make me do? Kelazhur knows burrowed Banes are on the map, so it's something you kind of have to respect at times. Fireforce still making its way to the top side, as we're going to be seeing these Mutalisks. Actually a little bit hurt right now, just taking a Widowmine shot or so on their way home. And there's Widowmines defending the run by a massive army of Kelazhur, then 150 to 100 army supply is on top of Reynor's bases. It's difficult to defend this right now because, well, you just don't have much army supply compared to what the Terran's working with. Bunch of Banes morphing in. We're just going to try and lead in a few units initially, get some good damage done initially. Some efficient trade outs, kills a base. Kelazhur at home, a couple of medevacs loading up. Counterattacks are going to be one of the big problems for Kelazhur in a moment like this, when so much of the focus is obviously on the other side of the map and he's got his entire army over there. Kelazhur needs to do damage because obviously he's not exactly looking brilliant when it comes to everything else. The Thor shots here, weakening up the mutas again. A few Banes rolling through to no avail back on Reynor's side of the map as a few Marines showing up. The mutas are going down. Kelazhur killing off some of the final mutas of Reynor. There are not a lot of, there's not a lot of power left there. On our way to Ultras, but Ultras are going to be spawning into what is already a pretty reasonable Marauder count. We attack down on the bottom left-hand side, Lings spawning straight to their death. Wow, and I think we've actually got ourselves just Kelazhur really in a stellar position. The first Ultra actually popped out into this army, didn't do much. Kelazhur still trying to defend back at home, though. Still trying to hold back at home. Is just going to be seeing drone goes down, the Spore and the Extractor will fall. And this muta is escaping away up the right-hand side. This is a really, really crazy game of TVZ. 17.5 minutes deep. Kelazhur showing us some freaking action right now. Widowmine goes off for a circling. Just going to be seeing the Lingbane still coming through. Going to stim in from the right-hand side. And just going to be having ourselves an army coming all the way across. I love that Kelazhur's changed his direction of attack. Reynor's army supply doing a little bit better now than it was before, right? He's lost a few drones. He's replaced on army. He's not been rebuilding the drones. He appreciates that Kelazhur's army is massive, and actually having a viable army yourself will probably help. First round of Banes here does nothing. This base in general is in so much trouble as... Oh, the Marines do need to split at the end as the Banes come in. Now the Lings from the bottom right as well. Kelazhur is getting cleaned out here. The Ultras haven't been dealt with. Oh, that's a massive win for Reynor as Marines up here are going to get rid of a lot of drones. But this fight just wasn't good for Kelazhur. He lost a lot very quickly. It's just going to be seeing our extra Banes still morphing in here. Ultras coming through. Just going to be chasing down this group of medevacs. Those Banes continuing in, and they are looking for some SCVs. Connecting through. Ultras get on top of that missile turret. We are going to see that orbital command having to have lifted off. Ah, man, Kelazhur has played a great game, but is he just running out of steam here at the end? Reynor is running on kind of fumes as well. I mean, this base is so close to dying. If this base wasn't around, Reynor does not really have any mining. It's actually so sad that Kelazhur didn't get it, because it could have been the game-changing base. And Kelazhur still has an army. He's going to maybe max out one more time here, so still plausible. He's got a new CC move, and he's still up the top, denying this base from being taken. Again, it's more than just, like I say, I mean, a drop like that down here right now does so much. These meters need to be careful because they are flying into these Marines. Reynor didn't see it in time to save one of the 3 meters. If Kelazhur is paying attention, maybe he could target fire down another. He does not, though. The Mutalisks get rid of the medevac, which obviously means kind of the end of that pressure for the moment. The war down the bottom side is being chased away as well. All Marines coming through to keep on chasing that out of here. Medevac just lifts up again, escaping over to the corner. And just going to be seeing our Overseers doing a decent-ish job of keeping track of things around the map. Gonna re-land our command center on the top right base, and we find a couple of burrowed Banelings, which is really nice, because obviously they are amazing at this kind of low economy situation. Reynor's getting way too much eco up. While Kelazhur gets the top right, Reynor's setting up to deny it. Kelazhur really needs to get rid of some of these bases. It's not just that one that was low HP anymore, it's another as well. Planetary isn't ready, and that's just a lift off. Some units here that will die. I mean, Kelazhur maybe can get a large push going down the bottom left. Let's see. Widowmine's already cleaned out, though. The few Banelings connecting in well. It's just a massive clump of bio that's going to make its way down the bottom left-hand side. We're going to see the Widowmine here getting a few of those Banelings. Kelazhur needs to do so much in this bottom corner. I just don't think it's possible. Reynor has an army here as well. Banes are going to keep on rolling through the Lings. Well, there was a big Widowmine connection actually that helps out, but it's just not enough. And Kelazhur especially just has no economy left, basically, and his few reinforcements are being picked off by an attack of Reynor as well. GG's, a beautiful game from Kelazhur, just didn't have the finesse to finish. Top right corner. Our blue Terran player is Kelazhur. Wow, what a great game, number one. Let's see what happens for game two in a moment. Kelazhur top right. Bottom left, our red Zerg is Reynor. Alright, then game two, let's see what happens as the SCV of Kelazhur is going to be down the bottom. We're going to proxy rack it up for the second game. So one racks down, about a B2. The Overlord of Reynor heading across to the top right side. Away we go, obviously. Proxy racks are really close, and if Reynor doesn't see them, I mean, a proxy as close as that can always be dangerous. It can always be testing. So it's one thing to watch out for is... Reynor really is not going to see this until Kelazhur is pretty much setting up on his natural expansions, so... away we go. Kelazhur in EU at the moment? I believe so. He's been in the EU for the last few years, apart from short trips away, back home, etc. He studied in the Netherlands, and he finished up his studies, but he now works for Team Liquid, and obviously joined Team Liquid too. I think now he actually went back full-time into StarCraft too. But actually, I don't know if that involved him going back to the Netherlands, or if he stayed in America or so. I'm actually going to ask him about that. I didn't think about the fact that he might not live in the Netherlands anymore. Anyways, drones pull down as the triple bunker sets up, so this is a wall off. That's why you kind of need these drones to really bust down this first part of the wall. Otherwise, the Marines just sit on the other side of the wall and have a good time. A couple of drones already very low, and if you can target those ones down, you're going to get some good damage here. Again, this is the power of the racks being very close. Reinforcements are showing up very quickly. And so, at the same time as well, Reynor actually didn't get these bunkers denied. That's bad. Now he must keep these units down here. He cannot let these Marines make their way into the bunkers. He just cannot. That would be really bad for him as the few Marines. And you can see the drone Lings just kind of sat there waiting. This is already extended damage because it's taken a lot longer to kind of, you know, stop these Marines than usual. Marines are going to get into this bunker over here. There's no repair available, though. So we are just going to surround it with the Lings, and the Lings are going to be able to clean it out. Nice cleanup from Reynor. It looked like it was going to get problematic, but he did what he needed to do. He scared Kelazhur from getting into the bunkers. And by doing that, he keeps Kelazhur out from really dealing too much damage or creating too many problems. Two more Marines popping around the bottom side. The few Lings are going to back away as they drop a command center back at home. Marines coming through on the bottom side. The Lings are getting up to the top. Going to be seeing ourselves with... Ling's going to apply some pressure, right? I mean, at worst case scenarios, you have to pull some SCVs right now just to keep the depots repaired. Obviously, the Marines are heading back, so eventually you kill off these Lings. He's actually going to get the SCV build in the command center too once it comes to this side. I actually really don't hate that he gets the Lings out of there now, because that's just 5 Lings or 6 Lings that you don't need to lose. And there's not really much else you're going to get done anyway, so yeah, maybe a little bit of lost mine time if you stuck around, but I'd rather take the 6 lings and not have to replace them further down the line. You can consider those as being 3 extra drones you can make while still having the same amount of units out, so that's definitely a positive here toward the end. Feelings out around the south. Just going to see this Raxus turning back away up the left as well. Queens, a couple of them putting some damage onto the barracks. There's a few Marines here picking away at the hatchery also. And yeah, this hatch actually going to be in some trouble for a few moments as the Marines continue through it. Lings are coming over. One of them gets zapped down by a Marine pretty much immediately anyway. I like that these few lings are still kind of sorry, this donation message is amazing. I read out soon. I like that these Marines are still out on the map, you know, there's no ling speed or anything, so you're somewhat safe to kind of poke around and to get a little bit of something, get some creep tumors. These Marines are actually picking up some really big value right now, so credit to these Marines. They are doing a pretty good job of this. Credit to them as we go down to the bottom side. 28 SCVs to the 40 drones. CC is now up on the natural, but of course Reynor is about to have a roach run and a massive attack across the map against a Terran player who is going to be a little bit helpless when it comes to dealing with roaches, right? There's just not a lot here at the moment. Couple more Hellions just popping out. Just going to be seeing our gain feelings out on the left-hand side. These Marines are going to go in after this Overlord, so that's going to fall here in a moment or two. Overlord is taken down. And yeah, Liberator and Stem on the way through as well as these Lings are back around the top. Away they go, but there's the units here to defend it. It's the roaches that are coming across the map that are the real problem. That's why I don't think Kelazhur really has any good answer for, right? This is a lot of roaches for the state of the game. Kelazhur really has nothing at all. Factory's off to try and build its tech lab. He's going to try and get a bunker building. So much is going to be killed here before this gets cleaned up, and that's the problem with the Lings. Black has a little bit of a buffer. Okay, the Liberator is kind of cool, so that's going to force the roaches to move either forward or back, and the roaches decide, well, kind of back, but then they still sit in the Liberator zone, so... Oh, alright. I'm actually not too kind of bothered by that for Kelazhur. I mean, that was a better kind of defense than I thought we were going to get. That was actually a way better defense than I thought we were going to get, if I'm going to be honest with you. Liberator coming back was really essential. That said, it was still 8 workers killed, and these roaches are still active. It's not like he fully cleaned this up, so it was still expensive for Kelazhur. It wasn't like a freebie. Not in the slightest, in fact, as these few queens make their way down the bottom. The Hellions do get rid of 1 creep tumor already. A little bit of creep spread will be built to get back up that ramp. Now these roaches intercept the Hellions, and 2 of them go down. Does feel as though Kelazhur is still kind of being the one who's kind of being picked apart a little bit. 1-1 roach upgrade starts, so Reynor's going to stick to the roaches for the foreseeable future here as well. The Vex down to the south, going to be moving on through. Just going to be seeing them stimming forward, the roaches. Actually in some trouble. These couple of Marauders are putting out some pain onto those roaches. They deal some good damage. That was not a bad drop from Kelazhur, but there's a long way to be going here. His 3rd taking position as the Zerg's 4th is finishing. Reynor's just always been very ahead on the income graph this game. For 5 minutes or so, it's been a kind of a serious lead. He's just always been that significant number of drones ahead of his opponent. That's going to be seeing the scan coming through, and the Hellion continue to pick away at it as the Bioforce is coming along. Just going to be having our roaches. Well, do you have a tank to contest with now as well? That's where a few Ravagers would go a long way to try and pile that down nice and quickly. So maybe a few moments here. As Roach Speed is going to be finished up soon. That will obviously aid in this defense. Also, no combat shields on the Marines just yet either. That tank on sieges, it knows what's about to happen. Kelazhur with a really good sense of when to get the hell out of there. There's a few roaches come in from the other side. Reynor is just going to go full on across the map now, though. And you got to consider one of the tanks was in this medevac, so it's not even sieged up at the start of this fight. The corrosive barrel down, the first one. Well, we get one corrosive barrel on it. It's actually a pretty messy fight for Reynor. Extra Ravagers show up. That will be barrels on tank number 2. He actually lost a lot initially. There was a lot of splash damage pretty quickly, and that really did get those roaches down rather fast. I think Reynor fought there without the 1-1 as well, which obviously is not very useful. Just going maybe a bit too soon, a bit over-eager. Still making Roach Ravager. This attack is not done yet. There's going to be wave 2 in just a few short moments. And the tank count currently, well, 1. 0 currently sieged, though, and that's the bigger problem. As these rocks go down, the natural is obviously a complete kind of wasteland when it comes to Terran units. There's nothing here. Okay, the tank goes over there. That's actually kind of nice, and actually might kind of save you for a little bit, and that tank will get some good shots off. Obviously, the Roach Ravager trading against the Bioforce. No armor upgrade on the Bio units, which is a shame for the moment as well. It's just going to mean they die a little bit sooner. And obviously, SCV is pulling in to try and survive. A couple of units of stopping reinforcements getting over here. As honestly, toward the end, these Bio units on the low ground of the third are doing okay. But it costs you 20 workers. Your tank got killed again. We're now building 2 tanks at a time. The Queens are showing up with a few transfusions. Honestly, the Marauder count is very good and is doing very well. Nice piles again. Just once more resetting the tank count, making sure the tank count is never getting to any sort of dangerous level here. This Roach Ravager is still kind of moving around, and just going to see that orbital lifting off and moving toward the main bases. The few Queens dropping their transfusions, obviously pushing the Terran back to 2 bases is a major part of the goal here. Once you've got the Terran back to 2 bases, I mean, you're pretty much golden. You're pretty much, you're in a fine spot at that stage, I would say. You've definitely already done one of the tougher parts of it, and you know, you have some freedom. 5 base Zerg, of course, at the moment. We're just nibbling away at the orbital command, as you have ourselves Roach Ravager out the front. Corrosive Valves coming through. We are still seeing Reynor trying to contest the low ground. I mean, I don't mind that at all. He's going Link Speed, Bane Nest, Infestation Pit, all the things you would like to kind of tech up with beyond this now. So he's making a lot of the right moves. He's actually going to get a chance to get on top of tanks. Has this been a little bit over-eager? Has to rebuild 22 roaches to re-max. I don't hate it, though. Roach Ravager coming through. Bile's going to go for the tank here. Is finally going to get it. Should get it, right? Eventually. I mean, it's kind of weird because Reynor's, like, still in a great spot. I don't understand trading out like this and then just rebuilding more roaches. I feel like maybe you should, if you're going to trade out like this, start rebuilding into the Ling Bane, and then have that for some of the future fights that I guess we're a long way off having Baneling speed, etc. And I guess in the end, this is doing enough to kind of push into the third again, and at the end of the day, it will be enough. I mean, it just looked a bit messy, right? It looked a bit scary, but he was really far ahead, and that allows him to do this. As this is going to be Game 2, Reynor, and Reynor goes to the semifinals.